everybody, and welcome to season 2 of Brian's Basement. So, as you can tell, there's a little bit of a different setup going here because I'm trying to think of all kinds of different ways and different formats to bring to Brian's Basement. And we're still going to do interviews for sure, but I made a whole list of terrible ideas about how to do songs and try to make internet viewership something worthwhile. So, in that spirit, the first thing we're going to do is a night at the folk opera. If you're familiar with the concept of a rock opera, it's a bunch of songs that are somewhat linked together. This is that, but with harmonicas and a lot more talking. So I wrote this thing in the course of the past week, and I don't know about it, but we're gonna try it anyway. So these episodes are going to be a little bit shorter, probably in like the 30-minute range. So as one of my longtime viewers has said, well, I'll just have to drink my beers faster then. So everyone should really down one to get through this. So, I guess we'll just jump right into it. Science Officer's Log. We are on our way to a world that we picked up on long-range scans, shown to have possibly sufficient levels of technological advancement. I've reviewed the data myself, and it's clear that the planet has harnessed the power of nuclear radiation and has vast quantities stored in what I can only assume are underground power plants. We've received traces of messages from what appears to be an advanced communications technology, and have even intercepted a deep space probe that we've been observing from afar. From what I've seen, they're not quite able to be capable of warp speed travel, but we've allowed more primitive species to join the Galactic Alliance, so long as they demonstrate a commitment to peace, learning, and equality. We have a good crew complement, many who I've worked with before. Our tactical officer is Lieutenant Ray, a grizzled veteran of the battlefield, who in his later career has decided to trade battle for diplomacy. He's been through quite a few scrapes and knows the importance of watching your six and not getting outflanked. I'm also happy to say that I'll be working alongside Chief Engineer Abbott, who on our last diplomatic mission proved to be technologically capable as he is genial. I will rely on his expertise heavily so that the instruments continue to operate as I run my analysis of the technical, biological, chemical, and geological features of this world. We are led by Captain Walden, who recently turned down an admiral position to continue running diplomatic missions. She's told me that she thrives on first contact, but for as long as she's been doing it, I can't fathom how she remains so stalwart to our deals. Despite the low overall success rate of these missions, she remains lively, encouraged, and passionate. I envy and admire that. We are nearing the planet now. We have alerted its citizens of our arrival, and they are excited to meet us. Tomorrow, we make first contact. Set off to make first contact. The captain and I beamed down, and Captain made pleasantries with the president, and he agreed to show us around. And we have cities with very tall buildings and supercomputers with touch screens. We have global telecommunications, and we've cured countless deadly disease. And the captain and I were impressed, and everything sounded quite great. But the conversation took an odd turn when he started bragging about things strange. We have a gigantic nuclear arsenal, mutual assured destruction and all that. And we have a couple of very nice billionaires, and you can order fast food with an app. The ground began to quake violently. Diplomats and waitstaff tried their best to appear calm, but they were visibly disturbed. Outside there was a huge pillar of dust, and a gigantic building had collapsed. There were sirens in the distance, and the shaking continued. Lieutenant Ray came on the communicator. He said, "Captain, we recommend immediate beam out. We're reading massive quakes around the entire planet." "Acknowledged," the captain said, and we prepared to leave. So the captain and I beamed up. We were saving the little ship, and the captain was enthusiastic and positive. I was less optimistic. And although I had no frame of reference, something in me felt unsure. The incident down on the surface left me shaken to the core. Science officer's log. We are obviously familiar with natural disasters, but the response from the diplomats in the room was very alarming. They didn't seem surprised, or rather, they were intentionally trying to hide that they were. If they were truly surprised, why didn't they acknowledge it and accept our help? Something didn't add up. But as a science officer, I had to ignore the human aspect of this and focus on the data. I enlisted Chief Abbott for help, and he told me that he'd been coordinating with scientists on the surface on how to interlink with their worldwide network. "It's funny," he said, while linking conduits and flipping labelless switches. "The scientists referred to the network as a cesspool and warned jokingly that it will turn our brains to mush." "How odd," I replied. "I wonder how a tool like a network could ever be characterized as malicious or degrading." "Well, I'm ready," the chief said. "Interlinking comm systems. In 3, 2, 1. blaring on the ship's speakers, panels bursting, sparks fly. Harsh noises unlike anyone's heard, unintelligible screaming, unintelligible words, and it changes you inside. A parasite in our brains, a contagion on the airwaves. Blurred vision, ringing ears, and our thoughts are consumed by our own worst fears. Find a quiet space to lay down. Gotta detox from the noise that abounds. The more we struggle, the more we shout, the more that it spreads around and around and around. Ray said he knew this would happen. It was all planned in intricate ruse, making connections and drawing lines. I can prove that they're evil. The other side, they are not like me and you. Captain was ranting and raving. You're just an ignorant, small-minded type. And though I've known you for years, it's unforgivable what was said here. I ought to throw you in the brig for life. A parasite in our brains, a contagion transmitted on airwaves. Blurred vision, ringing ears, and our thoughts are consumed by our own worst fears. Find a quiet space to lay down. Gotta detox from the noise that abounds. The more we struggle, the more we shout, the more that we spread it around and around and around. Abbott was curled up in a corner. He said I tried to get people to sick bay, but the noises were too loud, and the parasite wore me down. There was nothing I could do or say. I staggered to the comm panel. There was a solution I had discovered. I hastily entered a code, made the comm receiver explode, but it took a while for the crew to recover. A parasite in our brains, a contagion transmitted on airwaves. Blurred vision, ringing ears, and our thoughts are consumed by our own worst fears. Find a quiet space to lay down. Gotta detox from the noise that abounds. The more we struggle, the more we shout, the more that we spread it around and around. A parasite in our brains, a contagion on the airwaves. Blurred vision, ringing ears, and our thoughts are consumed by our own worst fears. Find a quiet space to lay down. Gotta detox from the noise that abounds. The more we struggle, the more we shout, the more that we spread it around and around and around. Science officer's log. Ray stumbled onto the bridge. His head was bleeding and his uniform torn. Were we invaded? He asked dreamingly. He was clearly suffering a head wound. Ray would never have acted so unconcerned regarding a security threat. I don't think so, Abbott replied, crawling out from under a workstation. But I can't really remember. Golly, my head hurts. We tried to recover as quickly as possible, but it took several hours. Ray was running audits on the computer to track a possible intrusion. Abbott was busy repairing ruptured conduits and shattered panels. I was tending to the wounded. The minute I wondered, where is Captain Walden? My communicator went off. Senior officers, to my ready room, her voice said. When we arrived, the captain was slouched in her chair, appearing unlike I had ever seen her. Haggard, tired, and defeated. Her eyes were bloodshot from many hours staring into an analytics panel. The computer was able to analyze the data without being fully infected, and we were able to gather useful information before the interlink was severed. She spun the panel around so that Ray, Abbott, and I could see it. There were short-range scans paired with the sum of all of the planet's knowledge, and the result was startling. Scans indicate global instability. Below the surface, buried deep down. But the fissures are growing upwards, causing shaking in the ground. And these are not mere inconveniences. Lives have been lost in the quakes. And for something so seemingly random, well, there's patterns of the deaths in its wake. Oh, they know, oh, they have to know. They can see it before their very eyes. And they don't seem to care, but they really should be scared. Scans indicate they're running out of time. Scans indicate prosperity and riches held by a very select few. And there's no incentive to believe the news reports. And some will claim that they're not even true. But they're true to all the people that have seen them, whose lives were destroyed by the shakes. And they're trying to migrate for refuge, while penny pinchers close off all the gates. Oh, they know, oh, they have to know. They can see it before their very eyes. But they don't seem like they're scared, and they don't seem like they care. But scans indicate they're running out of time. Scans indicate well-intentioned people that the parasite has taken its hold. And they're groping in the dark like blind men as the destruction continues to roll. Scans indicate to proceed with caution. Scans indicate poor conditions ahead. Scans indicate some hope, as rare as it seems. Scans indicate a tough road to tread. Oh, they know, oh, they have to know. They can see it before their very eyes. And they don't seem like they care, but really should be scared. Scans indicate they're running out of time. Science officer's log. We now had a decision to make as we stood around the captain's ready room. Ray broke the silence. Our ship is crippled, and we have a long, perilous journey home. We cannot waste valuable resources on these people who have proven to be negligent of their own people and planet. They know full well the problems they face, obvious and subtle alike, but from what I can tell, they've avoided it for currency and comfort. They do not demonstrate any of our values, the foundations of our alliance: peace, learning, and equality. I felt that Lieutenant Ray made valid points, at least scientifically. Obviously, they were nowhere near qualified for entry into the Alliance. I agree with Ray. The logical course would be to leave, I begrudgingly stated. But, said the usually quiet Abbott, they are so close engineering-wise to be able to wrangle the chaos that they have wrought. There is good happening in the chaos, and will be bolstered by capable people that care enough to do so. My vote is to stay. Captain Walden was quiet for a moment. I agree with Lieutenant Ray about entry into the Galactic Alliance, but they are not ready. And although I agree with Abbott as well, their inability at this time to join presents a problem, because now we must consider the Prime Directive. As you are all aware, we cannot interfere in the affairs of a more primitive planet because of the unintended consequences that can stunt their growth into an enlightened spacefaring society. This applies not only to resolving minor conflicts, but also potentially world-destroying events. Judged them and found them to be lacking, despite being advanced technologically. And the question we must ask as we look into the mirror is, what kind of people are we? Who 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 are we? If we should choose not to help them, set our engines to warp and leave, we would teach them a lesson about not banking on miracles while thousands die at our feet. Who are we? 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 And if we decide to assist them and throw them the lifeline they need, will they take what we gave, and will they learn and they share, or will they use it to fuel their greed? Who are we? 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 Are we the givers of the Holy Grail, or the apple from Eden's tree? Give eternal life or give eternal toil? Why are we tasked with this deed? Who are we? 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 Science officer's log. The captain has made her decision. I will include the full quote in my log. It is my belief that their knowledge of the magnitude of the problems they faced is an argument for, not against, our assisting this world. A society that falters at the foot of its greatest challenges despite their ability to overcome them scientifically falters because of a lack of empathy, desire, and vision. These are the tools that we can best provide, and according to our principles, are bound to do so. To leave would be the easy approach. To leave would be their approach. To abandon hope for short-term gain. To avoid righteousness by technicality. And to hide instead of undertake the challenge. We have seen the results of these approaches, and we can do better. Okay, well, that's the end of that. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be doing a couple more of these. I have one lined up in my head to do a gigantic ballad of the Shamrock. And if you have any other ideas of potential topics, please leave them in the comments and let me know. I've got some other ideas up for this whole thing. So we'll be experimenting with different formats. So I thank you for joining us and being along for the ride. So until next week, have a good time and be kind to people. And I'll see you soon.